Belief precedes mastery. That is a law of personal achievement so fundamental that it cannot be bypassed. You see, the greatest artists, leaders, while they watch you work, and innovators the world has ever known did not begin their journey with evidence of greatness. They began with belief. They stepped forward with a vision of themselves far beyond what others could see, long before the world ever gave them applause. You work. They didn't wait for validation. They didn't need permission. They believed first, and that belief shaped every decision they made thereafter. Acting as if you are the best is not arrogance. It is a disciplined, focused form of self-leadership. It is claiming ownership over your potential, declaring to yourself that you are not some product of circumstances, but a creator of outcomes. When you believe you are the best, not in comparison to others, you work, but in the context of your own purpose. You activate faculties within you that have long been asleep. Your brain begins to find pathways to success that weren't visible before. Why? Because belief sharpens your perception. It alters your emotional state. They work. It aligns your thoughts with the frequency of courage and power. When you believe in your greatness, even before it manifests externally, you begin to embody it internally. And from that embodiment comes action. Consistent, bold, intentional action that is rooted not in insecurity but in certainty. Too often, people think they must achieve first in order to believe. They say, once I get that job, then I'll feel confident. Or, once I'm recognized, then I'll act like I matter. But life does not work that way. That's the formula of the timid. The champions of this world understand that belief must come before mastery. The belief is the seed, the mastery is the harvest. If you do not plant belief, you work, you will never reap excellence. And if you do not act in alignment with that belief, daily, repeatedly, while they watch you work, even when you don't feel like it, then your greatness will remain dormant, buried beneath hesitation and fear. So belief is not just a feeling. It's a discipline. It is a conscious decision you make every day to walk, talk, act, think. They watch you work and feel like the best version of yourself already exists within you, because it does. You work. You are not trying to become someone else. You are remembering who you were born to be. Every time you act as if you are the best, you are reprogramming your mind, rewiring your identity, and rewriting the story of what's possible for you. You are not pretending. You are preparing. You work. You are training your spirit for victory before the scoreboard even appears. And one day, while they work, the world will simply catch up to what you've already declared in your heart. You work. Identity shapes action. This is one of the most powerful truths in personal development. What you believe about yourself determines how you behave. Work. The identity you hold in your mind is the compass by which all your thoughts, choices, and habits are aligned. When you begin to act as if you are the best, you work, something profound happens, your behavior rises to meet that identity. You start to think differently, speak differently, walk differently. You don't just perform tasks. You execute them with intention, with precision, with pride. That is the power of identity-driven behavior. When a person adopts the belief that they are already successful, even before the physical evidence appears, they begin to act like someone who deserves success. You work. They plan their days with purpose. They invest in themselves. They show up early. They stay late. They demand excellence from themselves in the smallest of things. Why? Because that is how a champion operates. They no longer act like a victim of circumstance, but as an architect of destiny. The shift in identity creates a ripple effect that transforms every area of their life. You begin to dress the part, speak the part, lead the part, not to impress others, but to remind yourself of who you are becoming. This is not about delusion. It is about decision. You work. You are not lying to yourself when you act as if you are the best. You are aligning with your higher self. You work with the future version of you that already exists in possibility. You are stepping into the identity of that individual today, because action flows from identity. And if you see yourself as small, insignificant, or average, your actions will always reflect that. You will settle. You will shrink. You will retreat when resistance shows up. But if you carry the identity of someone who is already great, already worthy, already powerful, then your actions will rise even under pressure, especially under pressure. Think about it. A lion doesn't ask for permission to roar. A champion doesn't wait for applause to feel valuable. Their behavior is dictated not by external approval, but by internal certainty. That certainty is born from identity, and identity is shaped by repetition. Every day you act as if you are the best. You reinforce the belief that you are capable of extraordinary things, and soon that belief becomes automatic. It becomes natural. It becomes who you are. So, start today by asking yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? And then do it. Not when it feels easy, not when the mood is right, but now. Because the moment you begin to consistently act from a place of power, you no longer wait to feel motivated. You become the source of your own motivation, and they watch when your life changes, not by chance, but by choice. Self-confidence is not something you stumble upon. It is not granted to you by chance or given as a reward for luck. Self-confidence is built, brick by brick, choice by choice, moment by moment. It is constructed from within, by your own hands, through deliberate action and intentional mindset. While they watch you work, you don't wait for confidence to show up before taking the leap. You build it by taking the leap. While they watch you work, you become confident not because you've done everything perfectly, but because you've acted despite imperfection. That is how the greatest men and women in history have forged their path. Not through perfection, but through persistence. When you act as if you are the best, you are not faking anything. You are training your nervous system, your voice, your body, and your belief to align with power. Confidence does not come from standing still. It comes from motion. It comes from doing the very thing you are afraid of. It comes from standing tall even when doubt tries to bend you. Each time you step forward, each time you speak up, each time you finish what you started, you work. You place another brick in the foundation of your unshakable self-belief. The problem for most people is that they wait. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until someone else validates them. They wait until fear leaves. But confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward even when fear is present. You don't act because you're confident. You become confident because you act. And when you act as if you are the best, you are showing your mind and body that you are worthy of trust, worthy of success, and capable of greatness. Confidence built through action creates momentum. Momentum creates results, and results, when repeated, create identity. Over time, the person who once had to act as if they were the best becomes the best, not by pretending, but by evolving. This is a cycle that starts with one bold decision. Work, the decision to no longer let fear drive. The decision to act in faith with courage and with purpose. There will be moments when doubt creeps in. You work. That is normal. But those moments are not evidence of weakness. They are opportunities to practice strength. You do not need to feel confident to take the first step. You simply need to take the step. The feeling will follow. The trust in yourself will grow. You work. You will look back months from now and realize that the very confidence you once wished for has become your nature. And it all began the day you stopped waiting and started showing up, fully, completely, as if you were already the best. Because in truth, you always had it within you. You just needed to act like it long enough for the world and your own mind to catch up. The world reflects your self-image. That is not philosophy. It is observable truth. How you see yourself determines how others see and treat you. If you walk into a room believing you are not good enough, unworthy, or beneath others, that energy will radiate through your body language, your tone, your work, your posture, your eyes, and the world will respond accordingly. But if you walk into that same room acting as if you are the best, carrying yourself with confidence, certainty, and pride, not arrogance, but assuredness, the room shifts. People notice. Respect is magnetized to those who believe they deserve it. This is because we teach others how to treat us based on how we treat ourselves. Every day, your self-image is communicating silently with those around you. If you constantly diminish yourself, hesitate when speaking, avoid eye contact, or downplay your value, people will mirror that back. They will assume you are unsure, insecure, replaceable. But if you elevate your internal standard, if you believe truly and deeply that you are the best at what you do, the most disciplined in your craft, the most committed to your growth, then others begin to treat you as someone of value. They will respect your voice. They will remember your presence because you respected it first. You see, the outside world is not as objective as you think. It takes its cues from your internal reality. You work. People are not responding just to your resume or your appearance. They're responding to your energy, your certainty, your projection of who you believe you are. That's why two people with the same skills can have wildly different outcomes. One acts unsure. The other acts as if they're the best. The result: one gets overlooked. The other gets opportunities, not because of talent, but because of self-perception. And here's the good news: see, your self-image is not fixed. It is not permanent. It is programmable. Every time you act as if you are the best, they watch you reinforce a new self-concept. Every time you walk into a room with your head high and your voice steady, you are rewriting the script your mind uses to define you. And over time, this becomes who you are. It becomes natural. The very confidence you once practiced becomes authentic and unshakable. But you must be consistent. You cannot act powerfully for 1 hour and then retreat into self-doubt for the next 5. You must live in alignment with your new image. Through speech, through action, through how you carry yourself in solitude and in front of others. The more you reinforce this image, the more the world will begin to confirm it. Opportunities will increase. Respect will grow. Doors will open. Not because something outside of you changed, but because you did. Remember this, always say, the world is a mirror. If you want it to reflect excellence, strength, and greatness, you must project those things from within. Act as if you are the best. You work, and soon others will believe it too. Not because you said it, but because you showed it in everything you do. Fear and doubt are illusions. Persistent, convincing, and often loud, but illusions nonetheless. They are mental projections, not facts. They are shadows, not walls. Yet so many people live their lives as prisoners to these shadows, waiting for them to disappear before they take the next step. But fear does not vanish on its own. It dissipates only when you face it. The moment you act as if you are the best, while they watch you work, you expose fear and doubt for what they truly are: weak ideas with no substance unless you give them power. When you step into the mindset of, no one is better than me, you are not becoming blind to your flaws. You are becoming immune to paralysis. Acting as if you are the best is not about ignoring your weaknesses. It's about refusing to be ruled by them. It's about choosing courage over caution, boldness over hesitation. Because the truth is, the more you focus on your limitations, the more you magnify them. But when you focus on your potential, when you act with the certainty that greatness lies within you, you begin to reduce fear's influence. You shrink doubt until it no longer directs your choices. You work. Consider these: every person who ever achieved something extraordinary started with the same doubts. They asked, am I good enough? Will I fail? What if I'm not ready? But the difference is, they did not stop there. They moved forward anyway. They acted. They built momentum. And with each step they took, doubt lost its grip. Fear began to fade. And confidence, which once seemed distant, became real. You work. This is the magic of action. It's the enemy of fear. When you move with conviction, fear has no space to breathe. You work. This is why acting as if you are the best is so powerful. You're not just pretending. You're practicing freedom. Freedom from mental chains that once held you back. Freedom from the hesitation that stole your time, your peace, and your progress. You work. You are replacing those internal barriers with motion, with purpose, with strength. And each time you choose to act boldly, you are building evidence in your mind that you are capable, worthy, and powerful. You cannot eliminate fear by thinking about it. You work. You overcome it by taking the action it tries to stop. When you speak up in a room where your voice once trembled. You work. When you volunteer for the challenge you used to avoid, when you take the lead despite your heart racing, those are the moments you redefine yourself. You don't become fearless overnight. You become someone who fears less because you act more. So never wait for doubt to disappear. Never wait to feel completely safe. Instead, move forward anyway. Take the step. Speak the words. Enter the arena. Do it while fear is still whispering. Because once you do, its voice will grow quieter, and yours will grow louder. That's the path of transformation. That's the power of acting as if you are the best. You don't just silence fear. You replace it with faith. Faith in your potential. Faith in your journey. Faith in who you are becoming. You compete with your own potential, not with other people. That truth, once fully understood, changes everything. Too often, you work. People fall into the trap of comparison, watching others, measuring their progress against someone else's success. You work, judging their value based on another person's timeline. But greatness doesn't come from beating others. It comes from exceeding your own limits. While they watch you work, when you act as if you are the best, you're not saying, "I am better than everyone else." You are saying, "I am better than who I was yesterday, and I will keep getting better every day." Your potential is not fixed. It is elastic, expanding only when you push against it. If you treat each day as a personal battleground where the only opponent is the version of you from the past, you ignite a fire within that comparison with others could never spark. Acting as if you are the best is about competing with your highest standards, not someone else's highlight reel. It's about aiming to reach your personal peak, knowing full well that your best version is still ahead of you, not behind. Think of elite performers in any field. They aren't focused on chasing others. They're focused on mastery. Mastery of their discipline. While they watch work, mastery of thoughts, mastery of their routine, and most of all, mastery of themselves. Because the toughest opponent you will ever face is the part of you that wants to stay the same. That part of you that loves comfort, that resists change, that clings to fear. But when you act as if you are the best, you refuse to accept stagnation. You commit to excellence, regardless of how difficult or inconvenient it becomes. This inner competition is what transforms average into exceptional. It requires honesty. You have to look at yourself daily and ask, did I give my best effort today? Did I challenge my thinking? Did I do what I said I would do? When the answer is yes, you feel progress, even if no one else sees it. And that quiet confidence begins to build, not from applause, not from recognition, but from integrity. You work because deep down you know you're winning the invisible battle, the battle with your lower self. And here's the truth. If you get this part right, the external rewards take care of themselves. The success, the respect, the influence, it all flows naturally when you focus on rising above your former self. You work. Others will notice your discipline, your certainty, your results. But they are simply witnesses to the work you've been doing behind the scenes. Because your main concern isn't who's ahead of you or behind you. It's whether you are becoming the best version of you. So make this your mission, to compete only with the person in the mirror. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Raise your expectations. Push your boundaries while they work, and never let complacency take root. Because you don't need to be better than anyone else to win. You work. You only need to be better than who you were yesterday. And to wake up tomorrow and do it again with purpose, with passion, while they watch, and with the unwavering belief that your best is yet to come. Repetition makes it real. That which is practiced consistently becomes identity. You work. It's not what you do once that defines you. It's what you do every single day, even when no one is watching. You work when you act as if you are the best and repeat that action day after day, moment after moment, thought after thought. Something powerful begins to happen. It no longer feels like pretending. It starts to feel natural. It starts to feel true. What was once an act becomes authenticity. What was once effort becomes embodiment. This is the transformative power of repetition. Human beings are creatures of habit. We become what we repeatedly do, say, and think. Your brain doesn't distinguish much between imagination and reality. It responds to emotional repetition. If you constantly dwell in fear, you build a fearful identity. If you constantly speak from a place of strength, take bold action, and carry yourself as if you are the best, you build a powerful identity. You train your subconscious to believe it. And once your subconscious believes something, it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about being confident. You simply are. You don't need to convince yourself you're capable. You just know. The challenge is that most people quit too soon. They try to act with confidence once, maybe twice, and when it feels uncomfortable or unnatural, they give up. You work, but everything feels foreign at first. You didn't learn to walk by standing up once. You didn't learn to speak by uttering one word. You learned through trial, error, persistence, and repeated effort. The same applies here. You must act as if you are the best every single day, in the way you speak, in the way you show up, in how you think, how you sit, how you plan, how you train. Over time, that repetition imprints itself deep into your identity. Consistency breeds credibility, not just in the eyes of others, but more importantly, in your own eyes. Every time you follow through, every time you maintain that standard, you gain a bit more trust in yourself. And that trust is the root of lasting confidence. When you see yourself as someone who shows up with excellence again and again, you begin to walk differently, talk differently, live differently. You no longer question your value. You own it. There's no secret shortcut. There's only the discipline of daily alignment. Act like the best. Think like the best. Train like the best. Speak like the best. And do it over and over until your mind, body, and spirit begin to align with that version of you. While they work, you are laying down the tracks for a new identity to emerge. One that doesn't need external praise to feel validated. You work. One that doesn't shrink in the face of challenge. One that is grounded in repeated strength. The longer you walk in this mindset, while they watch you work, the less it feels like a role you're playing, and the more it becomes who you are. While they watch, you don't try to be the best anymore. You simply act in accordance with the version of yourself that already knows it to be true. Because repetition is how belief becomes being. And if you can keep showing up with that level of intention, one day you'll realizing, while they watch, you no longer have to act as if you are the best. You are.